there guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Before we get started, I just wanted to announce I'm going to be streaming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at these times. I hope to see y'all there. Thanks for watching. Grinch can't let anyone like Christmas. Am I the a-hole for ruining Christmas for my kids growing up? This happened last year, but I was recently brought up again. My son is still kind of annoyed about it, so my daughter suggested I post here. I, 53 male, have never enjoyed Christmas. I never enjoyed the decorating or the shopping or any of that. My wife has always loved it. We had kids who I will call Mark, 25, and Emily, 23. I told my wife I didn't want to be involved in anything Christmas related or wanted anything overly done in the house. I admit that sometimes I would complain the house is overly decorated and took things down or wouldn't let them do certain things. My wife and I had more than one fight about it. My wife passed on 3 years ago now. Last year I was with Mark and his now wife, who I'll call Amy. Amy really decked the whole house out. I made a comment that I thought was funny, that it looked like Christmas exploded in their house. Amy laughed and said she loved Christmas and enjoyed decorating for it. I told her I thought it was a waste of time, honestly, and that the money spent on decorations could be spent on much better things. I asked Mark how he felt about that, considering we always put our money towards other things and didn't do things like that. I expected him to laugh, but he didn't. Instead, he told me he would have loved to do things like this growing up, but I never let them, and even though my wife tried to do fun Christmas-related things with them, I almost always found a way to ruin it for them. He said he got it. I hated Christmas. That was my right, but it was awful that I tried to make them hate Christmas too. I said I never tried to make them hate Christmas, but he argued that I was a Scrooge, and anytime they did anything remotely fun or festive, I found a way to ruin it. My wife baked tons of cookies and treats. I didn't even let them have any. What? I just took them all to work. My wife wanted to take them ice skating. I made sure to find a reason they couldn't go. My wife wanted to take them to Christmas parade our town had every year. I made sure to make plans on that day so they couldn't go. He said that he and Emily love Christmas and really enjoyed now being able to do everything they want to do as kids, but I wouldn't let them. I felt really attacked at this point and said that if he was so miserable, why didn't he ever say anything? He pointed out he had repeatedly, and that I just didn't care. I only cared about my view, and that I wasn't willing to allow them to celebrate because I didn't want to, and that I was selfish. I was pretty upset and told him I wouldn't talk to him until I got an apology for how rudely he spoke to me. He won't apologize, and our relationship has suffered because of it. I really don't think I did anything terrible here, but my daughter has agreed that I did make it hard to enjoy the holidays because of my attitude and suggested I posted here. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to celebrate Christmas? Yeah. Yes. You're just, oh my god. You're worse than Scrooge, bro. Like, for real. Even the Grinch didn't stick around for a whole month, systematically ruining every single Christmassy thing going on in their family's life. Beyond Grinch, beyond asshole. Way into the hot and red territory. And no, I don't mean the festive lights you wouldn't let them have. Yeah, why wouldn't you even let them ice skate? That's just messed up. Alright. I made 14 kids cry. Weird flex, buddy. Halloween is the worst celebration of all time. By far the worst celebration of all time. Halloween as a concept is great. Even the recent traditions, dressing up as spooky costumes, going around house to house getting candy. I like this. It has a name. It can be celebrated by all, and it has a ton of great movies to watch during it. But in practice, it's aimless, annoying, it makes me quite frustrated. First, what annoys me is the most is costumes, not the effort, but in what it actually is. Instead of being something spooky, it instead is anything. There are thousands of good options you could do for a good Halloween costume that actually thematically fits. Ghosts, skeletons, vampires. I'd rather see someone go as a ghost just having a sheet with 2 eye holes than someone as a random Disney character that has nothing to do with Halloween. It went from a genuine celebration of horror to a complete shitfest of people dressing up as anything but. This is why for the past years, every time someone came to the door asking for candy that wasn't in a thematic costume, I didn't give them any. I have made 14 children cry, and all of them made me glad I pushed for thematic appropriation. Even if at the end I made one person change to horror theme, I'd be happy with that. Cheers, Scott. Bro really felt the need to put his name as if he's some like, what a jerk, dude. Like, yeah, I'm gonna ruin these kids' Halloween just because they didn't dress up as a scary creature. It doesn't matter, bro. Fuck you, Scott. I hate you. I hate you, Scott. No words for this. Am I the a-hole for not waiting to get my stepdaughter's pajamas altered? My wife is a 15-year-old daughter. We have a 4-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter together. My stepdaughter is skinny with long legs and a small waist. She has a chronic illness that has affected her growth. My wife still shops for her in the children's section most of the time, but she wears different sizes in shirts than pants. In tops, she's a 14 in girls or 8 in boys. In pants, she's 12 slim, which is impossible to find in leggings. We usually end up getting adult XXS, something extra small, and getting it hemmed. I get her having her pants altered because they're going to be worn out in public. My wife just bought some winter pajamas, which almost always comes in sets. She usually gets everything in the size 14, but the waist is too big, so she wants to get her pajama pants altered and have them add a tighter elastic waistband or drawstring. I told her that these pants won't be worn out of the house and that getting them altered is a waste of money, but she thinks it's unfair. The rest of us get to have clothes and pajamas that fit, and my stepdaughters are supposed to deal with it because they won't be worn out of the house. Now she's being petty and saying that a new jacket for me is a waste of money because mine from before we had kids works just fine, and my socks having holes is a big deal because nobody will see them under my shoes. My wife thinks I should give in and take the pajamas for alterations to keep the peace, but I just think it's an unnecessary expense. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to get her pajama pants altered? Yeah, you're kind of a jerk, dude. Like that's pretty mean. I feel bad for that girl. Get in there and make it about you. How do I tell my friends they are not giving me enough credit for their relationship? I'm not gonna lie, my feelings are really hurt right now. A couple years ago, two friends met each other at a kickback. I initially had reservations about them two dating, but I let it go. My friend Thomas even asked advice for planning this one date ahead for Emily. It was still early on and they'd been on a few dates, but this was the date that made her realize he's the one for her. I was instrumental in the planning. It was Thomas's birthday and she was giving a toast on their relationship and she didn't mention me at all. It felt like a slap to the face. I'm not trying to make it too long, but there is more instances of both of them just not acknowledging at all the role I played in their relationship. How can I bring this up? Do I talk to them individually or should I bring it up separately? Oh, here we go. Well, she didn't even want them to date. This is what she posted 2 years ago. My 25F friend 24F is dating my male friend 25. Even though I told her I'm not comfortable, should I tell him to end things? My friend Emily and I became friends because we live in the same apartment complex. Thomas and I both became friends when we were 19. Thomas had a crush on me, but he's not my type. For 2 years, he tried to get me, but eventually he got the hint and we remained good friends. A month ago, I was hosting a kickback and that's where they met. Thomas mentioned to me that he likes my friend and asked me to set him up. I said no. I told him if he likes her to speak to her himself, and he did. Emily asked me about him when he tried to talk to her, and I said he's a good guy. The other one asked if I was even okay with them dating each other. Why would that matter? They've been on a couple dates, and I told Emily after her second date that I don't feel comfortable with this. I asked her to end things, but she said no, and that's unfair to ask her because she really likes him. She says I should have said something before, but really they should have asked me if I was okay with this. I want to talk with Thomas about this before he gets too serious about impacting our friendship. Wow, what a rat, dude. She doesn't even want them to be she didn't even want them to date. That's crazy. Narcissism. Yes, incel. I, 28 female, think my younger brother, 25M, is turning into an incel. Our mom, 55F, agrees. How do we help him? Hi there, Reddit. So long story short, me and my mom have been growing increasingly concerned about my younger brother. He's 25, and like a lot of young men his age, he has very few friends and leads a fairly quiet, reserved existence. He always been into books and doing his own thing, which I've always found quite admirable, to be honest, but I guess it's now getting to the point it feels like a failure to launch. He has a good job at a legal firm and seems quite eager to go into a career path as a solicitor, so makes decent money and has some good savings. We both live at home, me with my boyfriend too, and I'll pay towards the upkeep of the house, but beyond that, he has no real ambitions or goals. He talks vaguely about moving out one day, hence the savings, but he's made no real plans for that, or one day having a family of his own and where he really wants to end up. It should probably come as no surprise that, to my knowledge, he's never dated and has zero dating experience, never had a girlfriend, never brought a girl home, never really shown any interest in trying to change that. Every time someone mentions it, he either gets standoffish or does this awkward laugh and says something like, girls don't fit with guys like him, which I find incredibly sad and defeatist. But he just has no existence in changing things. My mom has mentioned to him a few times that he could use his trips to the cinema, he's a massive theater kid, and now has an interest in film, as potential dates. And he always says there's no point because he has no one to take with him. When she said about changing that, he just says he's not interested. One time when we ate out, my mom had brought home a new boyfriend. My own boyfriend asked him why he didn't have a date too, and he was a bit annoyed as it came across as quite awkward. My brother made some comment about not knowing any women who live nearby. Oh, but he knows plenty online apparently. And my boyfriend got annoyed and said, well, you could have at least made the effort to go and try and meet someone beforehand. My brother just said he saw how it is and didn't want to be a burden, so he got up and left. We didn't see him for the rest of the evening. Yeah, y'all are being dicks. What? Leave him alone. Thankfully, my boyfriend did apologize, and they made up. Though my boyfriend asked him if he has trouble talking to girls, which we suspect is the case. And my brother apparently got very weird and said, no, that's not the problem at all, and asked to be left alone. Now my brother isn't totally antisocial. He does attend this amateur theater group, which he said he enjoys, and he has two because he's there nearly every week. My mom asked about going along once to meet some of his friends and got very skittish and said that's not really possible because it's members only or something. My boyfriend asked him if there are any cute girls there once and he got very standoffish and left the room, though he later told me that's not even an option, explaining the group has one strike rule of members asking each other out because guys have used it for cruising. and fairly respected members have been expelled when it's gotten ugly. I suggested he maybe look at other clubs that'd be more open, specifically pitching a cinema one, and he seemed quite offended for some reason. Okay, now I'm gonna make a observation. Now this is a theory. I have not finished this. He may be gay. You know, we never know. He might be gay, and they're just not seeing it. We've tried setting him up too, though, which is actually why I made this post. On Saturday, we were at a family birthday for my auntie, big family too, and we were able to see him next to a girl of the same age. She's the daughter of one of my aunt's friends. I keep an eye on them. They seem pretty frigid at first. He took a book with him because of course he did. But when I got back from the buffet, they were chatting away like old friends. Me and my mom were so pleased. He finally met someone. But after the party, my mom and auntie asked how it was. And she said, he's a really nice guy, but he's just not her type, and she isn't interested. My mom was pretty upset and feels like she failed him, but I try to remind her she can't control other people's preferences. We asked my brother how it went, and at first he seemed kind of upbeat and jokingly said a gentleman never tells. When my boyfriend jokingly said someone's in love, he got very hostile and told my boyfriend to shut up. We drove home in silence after that. When we got home, we left it a little bit, and I guess I wanted to let him down gently and asked how he felt it went. He said it was fine and proves he can talk to girls just fine. So we need to get off his back. I then asked him if he wanted to see her again, and he got very weird and wanted to know why I was asking. Well, I told him up front she wasn't interested, but he could use this experience for dating in the future. But he just went red, did this weird awkward smile and said, "We could have seen that coming," and then asked me to leave. I didn't see him Sunday as he was out all day, and I've not seen him yet today either. My mom said he's been acting normal, but I don't know, it just feels off. He's always been such a polite, sweet guy. I don't want him to see him fall down this rabbit hole and become some misogynistic bastard. But I don't know what we even can do. Just try to keep being supportive, maybe help him with some more meetups? My boyfriend has proposed they sit down and have a talk about his insecurities around women and maybe some advice on dating. But after everything else between the two, not sure how much of a good idea that is. Why won't they leave him alone? Let bro work at his own pace. You do not need to harass him into getting a girlfriend. Somebody forgot the in part of incel. Yeah. Pretty solid chance they also forgot the cell part, since he could easily, cheerfully shag a variety of gentlemen. Yeah, exactly. He's probably gay. He's definitely not gay, as he's never come across that way to us. My brother has a good job working in a legal firm. Beyond that, he has no drive. Bro is presumably either a lawyer or well on his way to becoming one. How much drive does this kid need? Everyone in the story besides the brother sounds absolutely insufferable. Yo, this exactly though. Screw these people. They pissed me off. Like, for real. Leave the man alone. Oh my god, dude. Me and my boyfriend live with my mommy. Anyway, my brother, the lawyer, is a loser. Lol. Yeah, right? So much for being a supportive parent. Am I the a-hole for telling my son to reconsider his career choices? Oh god. I've noticed a lot of these are am I the a-hole, but you know. Am I the a-hole for telling my son to reconsider his career choices? My son, 17 male, has always been a history lover. By 6th grade, he began watching history videos and later down the road began buying history books. It was always his favorite subject and he always got A's, or at worst B's, during both middle school and high school. Okay. In his mind, he always said he wanted to be a history teacher, which I always supported him on, since he was so passionate about it. Also, as a philosophy major, I've always respected people who study history, since it's an essential part of my own careers, just as philosophy is also key in understanding history. However, as my son reached senior year, I saw in his card report that history was actually his second worst grade. He got the equivalent of a C- in the US. That was very shocking for me, since he had never in his life gotten anything lower than a B. However, I did notice that his overall grades were pretty good, and I was very happy to find out that philosophy was actually his second best subject with an A-. After getting the report card, me and my husband wanted to talk to him and congratulate him for the grades. However, since my son will be going to college next year, I did want to give him some advice. I told him at the end of the conversation that perhaps he should reconsider studying history and instead do something like philosophy. Ever since he had studied the subject last year, he always got extremely good grades at it. My son did not take this well at all. I don't know if it was my wording or if he misinterpreted it, but he just started freaking out, saying that I had basically told him if he was not good enough for history. I told him I didn't mean that, I just said that he should consider other career choices, but no, he insisted that I was insinuating he was making a mistake. The argument escalated the moment he said that he wouldn't take any advice from either me or my husband because we only provided shit advice for his life. I told him that's fine, I wouldn't give him advice anymore, but I told him not to come crying to me if he struggled in college. After he kept complaining about me not understanding him or his love of history, I told him to do some chores, which he did. I'll admit that was probably childish on my end, but I was really upset. He had just done this whole tantrum over advice, which was meant to help him out. I later on talked with my husband about it. He said that our son's reaction was completely nonsensical, but that he was understood that he might have actually perceived it like an attack on the thing he always excelled at, which was history, and he probably was the first person to know that his grade was clearly bad for someone like him. I know my intentions were good, but maybe I should have taken into consideration that my son was probably also extremely disappointed in his grade. Am I the a-hole? Yeah. Like, for real. Imagine working towards a goal for the past few years, and it's been going well, then suddenly it stops going so well. Instead of concern or curiosity, your mother, who should be your biggest cheerleader, says, "You're not up for this goal, choose a different goal." When you talk about how misunderstood you feel, you'll assign more chores, right? That's how you get, listen, that's how you get put in a nursing home. You know, make your kids hate you.